The humiliation begins. The great hall of the alien court was filled with light, laughter, and cruel amusement. Tall alien nobles sat in their shining seats, their eyes glowing with pride. At the center of the hall stood one human, alone, unarmed, and surrounded by hundreds of mocking voices. His clothes were torn, his body weak from long travel, but his eyes still carried fire. The aliens had never respected humans. To them, humans were small creatures, simple beings who lived on a forgotten planet. They believed humans could never match their power, their culture, or their strength, and today they wanted to prove it in the cruelest way. At the front of the court sat the alien beauty. She was admired across her people for her flawless skin that shimmered like crystal, her long silver hair that seemed to flow like liquid light, and her sharp eyes that could silence even seasoned warriors. But behind that beauty was pride, and behind that pride was cruelty. She loved to see others bend, to see others break. When the human was brought forward, she rose from her throne. Her voice echoed through the hall, soft but cutting like a blade. "Look at him," she said, her lips curling into a smile. "This is the human who dares to stand among us. They say his kind can survive anything, that they can fight, that they can endure. Let us test this claim." The hall erupted in laughter. The aliens clapped their hands, eager for a show. The human stood tall, though chains bound his wrists. His chest rose and fell with steady breaths. He did not bow. He did not kneel. His silence seemed to anger them more than any words could. The alien beauty stepped closer. She circled him like a predator around its prey. Then with a flick of her hand, she gave a command. The chains fell, but so did his dignity. In one swift motion, she stripped him of his clothing until he stood bare before the entire court. The hall exploded with laughter. Alien nobles clutched, their sides tears in their glowing eyes from the joy of his humiliation. Some threw mocking words, calling him weak, soft, pitiful. But the human did not speak. He did not cover himself in shame. He stood there, his jaw tight, his eyes staring directly at the alien beauty. Her smile widened. "Do you see? He has nothing. His pride is gone. His humanity is nothing more than a costume, easily torn away. This is the strength of Earth." More laughter. More mocking. The crowd believed the human had been broken in that moment. But something subtle happened that none of them noticed. The human's breathing slowed. His eyes did not lower. His body did not tremble. He was not broken. He was waiting. A hush fell, brief but noticeable, as his gaze swept across the court. It was not the gaze of prey. It was the gaze of someone who endured storms, who carried pain as armor. The alien beauty caught it for a moment. For the first time, a sliver of doubt whispered in her chest, but pride pushed it away. She raised her arms and the court roared louder. "From this day," she announced, "he will serve us as entertainment. We will see how long a human can struggle before he finally breaks." Guards shoved the human forward, dragging him from the center of the hall. The crowd cheered for his suffering. They wanted games. They wanted trials. They wanted him to crawl, to beg, to cry. As the doors closed behind him, the alien beauty sat once again on her throne. Her eyes lingered on the place where he had stood, and for a fleeting moment, she wondered why his silence felt heavier than any scream. The human, walking, barefoot on cold alien stone, whispered only to himself. His voice was low but steady. "You stripped me of everything, but you will see. What is hidden cannot be broken." The first day of his humiliation had begun. But what the aliens thought was weakness was only the first spark of something far greater. The alien beauty had stripped away his pride for her amusement. She had shown him before the galaxy as nothing, but she did not know that in doing so she had awakened the very thing she feared most, the unyielding spirit of humanity. The struggle. The next morning, the human was thrown into the heart of the alien city. Towering buildings of crystal and steel stretched high into the skies, glowing with strange energy. The streets were crowded with alien citizens, each taller, stronger, and prouder than him. They stopped and stared as guards dragged the human through the marketplace. Murmurs spread like fire, followed by laughter. "This is the human," one alien whispered with scorn. "The toy of the alien beauty," another sneered. "He will not last a day." The alien beauty herself watched from a balcony above, her silver hair flowing in the wind. Her lips curved into a cruel smile as she saw the human pushed to his knees. She wanted him to crawl, to beg, to prove her judgment correct. The guards pointed to heavy crates made of stone and crystal, each twice the size of his body. "Carry them," they ordered. The task was designed to crush him, to make him fall, in front of the crowd. The human looked at the crates. His hands shook slightly, not from fear but from exhaustion. Days of travel, hunger, and humiliation had already weakened his body. Yet his eyes held that same steady fire. Without a word, he stepped forward. He bent his back, pressed his hands beneath the first crate, and lifted. The weight was crushing, his bones screamed, and sweat poured down his body. The crowd laughed louder, waiting for him to collapse. But step by step, his bare feet pressed into the alien stone, carrying the impossible load forward. His body trembled, yet he refused to stop. The laughter began to quiet. Whispers replaced mockery. The aliens watched, confused, as the human carried one crate, then another, and then another. His breathing was ragged. His muscles burned, but he never dropped them. The alien beauty leaned forward, her smile fading slightly. She had expected him to fall, to crawl in misery. Instead, he endured. His struggle was not weakness, it was defiance. By the time the task ended, the human collapsed to the ground, his chest heaving. The crowd expected him to beg for mercy. Instead, he pushed himself up slowly, meeting their eyes. He did not speak, but his silence was heavier than thunder. That night, he was thrown into a dark cell. His body ached, his skin was bruised, but his spirit was untouched. Alone in the shadows, he whispered to himself again, "You want me broken. But every pain makes me stronger." The next day, the alien beauty decided to raise the stakes. She wanted to see his pride shattered, once and for all. This time, she ordered him into the training pits. The pits were where alien soldiers tested their strength, fighting against machines and beasts designed for war. No untrained being had ever survived them. The crowd filled the arena, eager to see the human's final humiliation. The alien beauty entered her royal box, her eyes glittering with cruel amusement. "Today," she declared, "our human guest will fight, if you can call it fighting." The gates opened, and from the shadows emerged a beast, towering, armored with natural scales, and with teeth sharper than blades. The crowd cheered wildly. To them, this was not a contest. It was execution. The human stood still. He had no weapons, no armor. His only tools were his mind, his hands, and his will. The beast roared and charged forward, shaking the ground. At the last moment, the human moved. He did not meet the beast with brute strength. Instead, he dodged, rolling to the side, forcing the creature to crash into the wall. The aliens gasped. He used speed, not power. He studied the beast, its rhythm, its weaknesses. Each time it attacked, he avoided the killing blow, surviving longer than anyone expected. Minutes passed, and the crowd's laughter turned into awe. Whispers grew louder. How is he still alive? He is only human. Why does he not give up? The alien beauty leaned forward, her amusement slipping into unease. She wanted him destroyed, yet he kept rising from every strike, every fall. His body bled, his skin bruised, but his spirit burned brighter with each moment. Finally, when the beast lunged one last time, the human acted. Using its own weight, he rolled beneath it, wrapping a broken chain around its throat. The beast roared, struggled, then fell still. The arena went silent. No laughter, no mockery. Only stunned silence as the human stood, bloodied but unbroken, over the beast's body. He looked up at the alien beauty. His eyes locked on hers, steady, unwavering. He did not smile, He did not boast. He simply stood tall, as if saying, "Is this your amusement? Then watch closely." The alien beauty's heart skipped. For the first time, she felt something she had never known toward a human: unease. The struggle had begun, and the game she thought she controlled was slipping from her hands. The secret of humanity. The alien city was never silent. Its towers shone with silver light, its streets were filled with voices, and its air always hummed with strange energy. But after the humans' victory in the arena, a new sound began to spread: whispers. Everywhere he walked, aliens who once laughed now stared. Some whispered with fear, others with doubt. No one expected a human to survive the trials, to lift what their own kind struggled to carry, or to defeat a beast in the arena. The alien beauty noticed the change. Her people, who once cheered for humiliation, now murmured with unease. Some even questioned her judgment. Her pride burned. She had stripped the human to break him, yet somehow every attempt only revealed something stronger. One evening, when the moon of her world cast silver light across the palace, she entered his cell. The human sat in the corner, his body scarred, his eyes calm. He looked at her but did not bow. "You confuse me," she said softly, though her words carried sharp edges. "You have nothing, no weapons, no power, no honor. Yet you refuse to fall. Why?" The human's voice was steady, his tone quiet but filled with weight. "You think pride is something you gave me. You think dignity is cloth you can tear away. But you are wrong. My strength is not what you see. It is what you cannot break." The alien beauty narrowed her eyes. Empty words, but deep inside, her heart stirred with unease. The next day she devised a new game. She placed the human among her soldiers, forcing him into contests of skill. They thought it would be easy entertainment, one human against trained warriors. The first duel began. A tall alien swung his blade at the human. The human had no sword, no shield, only reflexes sharpened by survival. He moved fast, dodging strikes, forcing the alien to tire. When the opening came, he struck not with brute force but with precision. The soldier fell. Shock rippled through the crowd. The human fought again and again. He lost many times, beaten, down. But each time he rose faster, stronger, learning from every defeat. His endurance was unlike anything they had seen. His mind adapted to their tactics. He turned weakness into advantage. The whispers grew louder. He should have been broken. Why does he rise again? What are humans? That night, in hidden chambers, alien scholars argued. They remembered fragments of ancient history, records erased from the archives. They spoke of a time when humans had faced extinction, yet survived. They spoke of wars where humans, though weaker in body, endured when stronger races perished. One scholar whispered a phrase that chilled the room. "Perhaps the humans are the species we were warned about, the ones who endure what no other can." The alien beauty heard these whispers too. She dismissed them in public, but in private her thoughts were restless. The human was supposed to be a toy, a lesson in alien superiority. Instead, he was becoming a symbol of something she could not explain. One night when she visited his cell again, she tried to taunt him. "You fight like a beast in chains. Do you not hate me? Do you not wish me dead?" The human's eyes did not waver. "Hate?" he said calmly. "No. Hate would mean, you broke me. You did not. You only woke something your people tried to bury." Her voice shook slightly, though she tried to hide it. "What do you mean?" He leaned forward, his voice low, his words cutting like fire. "You wanted a spectacle, but you created a mirror. And soon you will not be the one laughing. Your people will." For the first time in her life, the alien beauty felt something stronger than pride. Fear. The next morning, the city was alive with rumors. Children whispered of the human who fought like no other. Soldiers grumbled about facing him again. Nobles frowned, worried about what his endurance meant for their image of superiority. The alien beauty stood before her throne, her smile thin but forced. She raised her hand to silence the crowd. "He is nothing," she declared. "A human, trick, a shadow of strength. Tomorrow I will end this amusement." But even as she spoke, doubt clawed at her heart. The human was no longer a joke. He was becoming a legend. That night, as he lay in his cell, battered but alive, the human whispered once again into the darkness. "You stripped me of pride, but in doing so, you showed the galaxy the truth. Humanity does not break. We rise." Pride. Against fire. The alien beauty could no longer ignore the whispers. The human who was meant to be a toy was turning into a story her people feared to speak too loudly. Soldiers doubted. Nobles murmured. Even children in the streets played games pretending to be the human who never breaks. Her pride could not allow it. She decided there would be one last trial, one final stage to prove humans were weak and her people were supreme, and she would make the entire city watch. The announcement shook the city. A grand trial in the arena, with thousands of eyes upon the human. It was not just for amusement anymore. It was for pride, for power, for control. The arena was vast, carved from black stone surrounded by towers that glowed with alien fire. Tens of thousands filled the seats, their voices rising in chants and roars. High above, the alien beauty sat in her royal box, her silver eyes gleaming with determination. This was her stage. This was where the human would finally fall. The gates opened. The human walked into the arena, bare feet pressing against the hot sand. His body carried scars, his arms bore bruises, but his eyes were steady. He looked at the crowd, at the towers, at the sky. He saw no fear in himself, only resolve. The alien beauty rose and spoke, her voice echoing through the air. "Today, you will see the truth. One human cannot stand against us. Watch as he is broken before your eyes." The crowd roared. Then the gates opposite him opened. Out came not one beast, but three. Monstrous creatures bred for war, their scales glowing. With alien fire, their roars shaking the ground. Their claws could tear stone, their jaws could shatter steel. The crowd screamed with excitement. This was no duel. It was slaughter. But the human did not run. He did not tremble. He stood tall, waiting as the creatures circled him. The first beast lunged, jaws wide. The human dodged, rolling across the sand, grabbing a broken spear left from past battles. He drove it into the creature's neck, twisting with all his strength. The beast fell, shaking the ground as it died. Gasps filled the arena. The second beast attacked, its claws slashing across his side. Blood spilled, but the human did not fall. He used the beast's own momentum, leaping onto its back, wrapping chains around its throat. It roared, spun, thrashed, but slowly it weakened and finally collapsed. The arena fell into silence. The third beast was the largest. Its eyes burned like fire. Its steps shook the earth. The human was bleeding, barely standing, but his eyes locked onto it with unwavering fire. The creature charged. The crowd held its breath. At the last moment, the human dropped to the ground, sliding beneath it, grabbing a shattered blade buried in the sand. With a final strike, he drove it upward, piercing the creature's heart. The monster roared one last time before collapsing in a storm of dust and silence. The arena was still. Tens of thousands stared at the human, bloodied, broken, but unbowed. He stood in the center of the sand, raising his head toward the alien beauty. His chest rose and fell with ragged breaths, but his voice carried through the silence. "You wanted to strip me of pride. You wanted me broken. But you cannot break what was born in fire. This is humanity." For the first time in her life, the alien beauty felt her body tremble. Her hands gripped the arms of her throne. The crowd, once full of laughter, was silent. Then, slowly, applause began. Not mockery, not scorn. Respect. The nobles who once laughed now bowed their heads. Soldiers who once mocked clenched their fists, whispering words they never thought they would. He is stronger than us. He is human. And he endures. The alien beauty's heart raced. She had created this stage to crush him, but instead, she had given him the throne of legends. His endurance had become their fear. His struggle had become their respect. That night in her chambers, she could not sleep. His words echoed in her mind. You cannot break what was born in fire. She had humiliated him, stripped him bare, thrown him against impossible odds. Yet each time he rose stronger. And now her people whispered not of her power but of him, the human who endured, the human who fought, the human who could not be broken. For the first time her pride cracked, and in its place, something new began to grow. Not just doubt, not just fear, but something she had never expected. Respect. The reckoning. The arena still echoed with the memory of the human's victory. For the first time in history, alien nobles left in silence. Their proud laughter was gone, replaced by uneasy whispers. Soldiers who once mocked now looked at each other with doubt. The story of the human who endured was already spreading across the galaxy. But for the alien beauty, silence was more dangerous than noise. Her throne felt colder, her pride felt weaker. She had stripped him, mocked him, thrown beasts at him, yet he survived every trial. Worse, he had stolen the attention of her people. That night, unable to sleep, she entered his cell once more. The human sat against the wall, his body scarred and bruised, but his spirit untouched. His eyes lifted when she entered. He did not bow. He did not flinch. Her voice was softer than before, almost uncertain. Why do you not hate me? I humiliated you before my people. I stripped you of everything. Why do you not curse my name? The human's gaze did not waver. You stripped away my pride, he said calmly. But in doing so, you revealed my strength. You wanted me to crawl, but instead you showed the galaxy that humans rise even from ashes. Hate you? No. You gave me what no one else could. Your cruelty became my fire. The alien beauty froze. No one had ever spoken to her like this. She was feared, adored, respected. Yet before this single human, her beauty and pride seemed fragile, like glass before stone. The next day, the council of alien rulers gathered. They demanded an explanation. This human is dangerous, one declared. He has turned our games into shame, another hissed. He must be destroyed before others follow his example. The alien beauty listened, but her thoughts were torn. She remembered the sound of the arena, the silence of thousands, the respect in her people's eyes. Destroying him now would not erase the truth. It would only prove their fear. She stood and spoke to the council. You call him weak, yet none of us could do what he has done. You call him worthless, yet he has changed the voices of our people. To kill him now would not prove our strength, it would prove our fear. The chamber fell silent. The rulers looked at one another unsettled. Back in the city, the people gathered outside the palace chanting. Not insults, not laughter, but words that shocked their leaders. Human, human, human. The alien beauty watched from her balcony. Her chest tightened. She had wanted to see him crawl, but now her people looked at him as if he were a beacon. She could no longer deny it. She returned to his cell one final time. The guards hesitated but allowed her through. She stood before him, her silver hair catching the torchlight, her voice quieter than ever. You have changed everything, she admitted. You were nothing when you arrived. I made you my game, but now even I cannot look at you as I once did. The human rose slowly, his body still weak but his spirit unshaken. His words were steady, heavy with truth. You thought humiliation would destroy me. Instead, it destroyed your illusion. You feared humanity was weak, but now you know the truth. We are the fire that never dies. Her lips trembled. Pride battled with something deeper inside her. Respect, admiration, even a strange longing she could not name. For the first time in her life, she bowed her head. News spread faster. Then light, Across the stars, whispers grew into stories and stories grew into legend. A human, stripped of dignity, turned into a symbol of endurance. His silence became a roar that reached every corner of the galaxy. To some, he was proof that humans were dangerous. To others, he was proof that humans were unbreakable. But to the alien beauty, he became something she would never forget, the one who shattered her pride and forced her to see the truth. As the human was led out of the alien palace, he did not raise his fists in victory. He did not scream for revenge. He simply walked with steady steps, his scars shining like medals. The crowd bowed as he passed, their chants echoing through the sky. The alien beauty watched from above. A single whisper escaped her lips, so soft only she could hear. Perhaps. Humanity is what we feared all along. And so, the game that began with cruelty ended with legend. They stripped away his pride, but they could not strip away what made him human. And in the heart of the galaxy, the story spread. Whenever all hope seemed lost, one truth remained. Humanity does not break. Humanity rises.